It's Cindy Powers Prosser with my #1 very first Facebook Live. Yay, I'm doing it. 2018, I committed to 2018 for trying something new this year. And Facebook Live has been one of those things that I've really wanted to do more of. I guess it's been at least a year that I've told myself, I really want to try Facebook Live, and I haven't. So it's February of 2018, the year of getting out of my comfort zone and trying some new things yet again. And this is my first Facebook Live. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being here live. And if you're watching the recording, thank you for tuning into the recording. I really appreciate you being here. This is my first Facebook Live. So it takes courage and it takes some support. And I'm really, really glad you're here to be with me. Now, there's a topic that I'm actually going to be doing these once a week if I feel good and you guys respond appropriately and you like them too. So I want to do them once a week. And every week I'm going to talk about shortly talk about, a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And this month, being February, I thought that love and relationships would be really a great topic to cover. I've just been totally immersed in love. My son, my youngest child, just got married to his bride 2 weeks ago. And to watch your child get married and to make his commitment to someone else is a huge thing for a parent. So witnessing that kind of love was amazing. My daughter and her partner came out, or her husband came out from the U.S. to witness it as well. And so thank you for the love. Thank you so much for the love. So my daughter and her partner came out from the U.S. to witness her brother getting married as well. And that love was just double. And then, of course, we were surrounded by friends and family that were so loving and there to celebrate our family's love. And I was there with my husband. Thank you so much for all your hearts, you guys. I really appreciate the love. This is fun. This is fun. And I was able to experience the wedding of my son with my husband. And we've been together for over 37 years. We're on our 38th year. We just celebrated our 38th wedding, Valentine's Day. And so love is a huge topic for me. It's something I celebrate. It's something that I actually say I'm pretty good at. And, we all have our strengths, and love is kind of my thing. And I get told quite a bit that I'm really lucky to have the relationship. Larry and I have this relationship, and that we're really lucky to have the relationship that we have. And I want to say that I absolutely feel blessed and grateful for what we have created together. But I do not believe that luck had much, if at all, to do with this relationship. Love is so much more than luck. It's not something that you compete for or you strive for or you get lucky at. It's not something out there that you have to earn. And I think that's one of the fallacies that many of us make, is that we need to earn our love. Again, thank you so much for the love hearts. I appreciate your enthusiasm. This is so fulfilling. And it makes it a lot more fun. So one thing I know is that love is something that is not out there. My business is opening doors within. And the reason why I called it that is because everything that we're striving for out there is actually accessible in here. This is where the real love and the real fulfillment lives. We've been role modeled, most of us have been role modeled, that to achieve anything or to get anything of value in our life, we must get it outside of ourselves. And love happens to be one of those things, For example, if we want to feel successful, we need to get the successful job. We need to get the job and create the success out there, and then we'll feel successful. And what happens when you lose the job or something happens out there? Then the success is gone and we feel disappointed, we feel frustrated, and we feel angry. Well, the same thing happens with love. If we look for love outside of ourselves, when I find the beloved, when I get that relationship, then I'll feel loved. That may work for a while, then that's called infatuation. The beginning of every relationship has got that really good feeling, and that works for a while. But to perform for our love or to try to get our needs met from outside of ourselves, if we continue to keep searching and striving and performing for that, there's a really, really good chance that we're going to end up feeling disappointed and frustrated and lost and alone over and over again. And I find that with my clients, the ones that have not been able to have a successful relationship have been the ones that have been looking out there and wishing that someone or something out there would change so that then they'd feel loved and then they'd feel successful and fulfilled. What I know is that love is not something that you get. Love is something that you are. You are actually love. Love is your birthright. You were born in the essence of love. Think of a little baby when they're born and they come into the world. They're pure love and pure light. And that's who you are in your pure essence. You are love. Yet many of us were taught at a young age from well-intentioned adults, such as our parents, that love is earned and that we were role modeled that it is something that we get outside of ourselves. Now, most of you don't know that I'm an early childhood educator. My first half of my life, my profession was all about helping parents be really good parents. So I have degrees in early childhood education, adult education, special education. My whole life was around helping parents be really good parents to their children. And there's something that I noticed that is affecting a lot of us as adults that happened when we were younger. So let me explain. When we were first born, the first 2 years of our life, we identify ourselves with our mother. We actually think that we are part of our mother. And then around 2 years old, we start to understand that, hey, we're separate from our mother. You know, many of you might be aware of that terrible twos. I like to call it the terrific twos. It's that time when our toddler starts to see us as separate from ourselves and as a mother. And they break away and they start using words like no, mine, and they push us away and they want to find their independence. And as difficult as this may be at first, it's a really important step for our children to find themselves. And so as parents, we reluctantly kind of, watch them from afar and see that they're doing okay. And over the months, these kids become more self-reliant and more independent. And it becomes easier as a parent to let them go. But then around 2.5 years old, that toddler starts to realize that it's not that much fun to be totally separate. They want to have that love from their parent again. And so depending on your family and what was reinforced for you, we learn these strategies to get our needs met or our love met. Now, I'm going to say 4 of them that I see quite often in my practice and see if any of them resonate with you. So again, these are going to be whatever was reinforced in your family. So if it wasn't reinforced, it didn't work for you, and that's not something you learned. The first one that I saw that was reinforced was we learned to be the good girl or the good boy. We learned to be the people pleaser. We learned to take care of others and show them how good we were so that we were told, hey, Cindy did such a good job on this. We can always rely on Cindy. And we got attention. We got love for taking care of others, for showing them how reliable we were, how self-reliant we are. And if that worked for you, that was a strategy that worked, and there's a good chance you're still using this today. Another way that I found we could learn to get our needs met or get love was to be really quiet and to just disappear. Because if we disappeared and say it was dinner time, our parents had to come and look for us. And so when they came searching for us, we knew they loved us. We found that love. So it was a strategy that was reinforced for some of us to find love or to have our needs met in that way. Now, if that didn't work in your family, maybe you were one that got sick or injured. Because if you got sick or injured, your parents had to drop everything and come over to you and take care of you, nurture you. I know that was one of mine. I knew when I got sick, my mom had to drop everything. I got milkshakes, I got homemade soup, I got books read to me. I love that attention that I got when I was sick. And so that was one of mine. And that was reinforced by my mother. She loved me when I was sick. And if none of those worked for you, then there was a good chance that you just threw yourself on the floor, had a tantrum, and caused commotion. Because if all else failed, you could get that attention by being a pain in the ass, is what you were, pinching your sibling or making some kind of problems. It might not have been positive attention, but it was attention nonetheless. And to many, that was seen as a form of love. So think about those four things: being the good girl or the people pleaser, being quiet, shy, or invisible, disappearing, getting sick or injured, or causing a commotion. Do any of these sound familiar to you? And if so, is that inner child within you still performing these same tactics for love today? Just a thought. It's one of the ways that we were taught how to perform for love. And it's something that I do see in my practice with my adult clients. Their inner child gets triggered and uses some of those tactics today. So trying to earn love or prove that you are lovable might work for a while, like I said, but it ends up being frustrating, exhausting, and it even can make you angry when it doesn't work. That's because as hard as you try to get that love outside of yourself, you can't control how the other person feels about you. So the only way that you can feel lasting love is if you have that love within yourself, correct? You must have self-love. And I know that sounds cliche, and it's something that people use a lot, but it's absolutely true. If you have healthy and lasting love within yourself, then you're able to give that love in a healthy way from your heart to others. And that's really how lasting love works. Take care of yourself, fill your heart with your own love, your own respect, your own self-esteem, and then you're able to give healthy love to others. And in that respect, they can receive it and then give you love back. So some of the ways that you can fill your heart up with self-love, let me just go over a few of the ways that I've discovered over the years with myself. So the first way to have self-love or more self-love is to have more self-awareness. So just by watching this video and learning a little bit of the discussion that I'm having here is learning about more self-awareness. And so learning about yourself and more about love or more about any of the subjects that you want that can help you become more self-aware is one of the ways that you can love yourself. One of the things I do is I help my clients find their blind spots. So I have a quiz that helps people find their blind spots. Those are blind spots that we don't even know that we have that are keeping us from love, keeping us from the abundance that we want. And so the more you find out about things like your blind spots or some of the subjects that are being talked about and written about so much today, self-awareness is a number one way, or one of the very important ways to learn how to love yourself some more. Another way that you can love yourself and top up your love within yourself is to do more self-care. So how well do you take care of yourself? I know most of us, especially those mothers out there, are really good about taking care of others. But my question is, how good are you at taking care of yourself? You know, I think many of us collapse self-care with selfish. I know that I see that especially over here in New Zealand, that if I take care of myself, I'm being selfish. And I want you to know those are two very different things. Selfish is really just thinking about yourself and never thinking about anybody else, doing it despite the impact it's going to have and not really understanding that you have impact and taking any responsibility. Thank you so much for that love. Thank you so much. And so when we don't realize that we have impact and take responsibility for our impact, that's being selfish. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is how well do we take care of ourselves, such as, get checkups, get out in nature, get our hair done. Whatever's important to you, whatever you value, getting massage, spending time with friends, doing things that are fun. Do you even know what's fun? How often do you do things just for the fun of it? So that self-care is a way that we can fill up our love within ourselves. The more we take care of ourselves, the more we can best take care of others. Wouldn't you agree? I know Anne Morrow Limberg in her beautiful book, Gifts from the Sea, talks about filling your pitcher. And when you take care of yourself, you fill your pitcher or your jug, as they say it here in New Zealand and Australia. And when you have a full jug, then you're able to joyfully pour into other people. So that self-care is vital for taking care of others and for giving love so that we can, again, receive love from a healthy place. Another way that you can have more love within yourself is through self-respect. How much do you respect yourself? Self-respect is all about lots of things, but a few of the things that come to mind when I think of self-respect are having clear boundaries, knowing when to say yes and knowing when to say no, and doing that from a place of self-love. Yes, you may hurt someone's feelings, but you know, your life and your self-esteem, your self-respect is important, because when you respect yourself, you can then much better respect others and give respect from a healthy place. Also, how well are you at asking for help? You know, a lot of us have a hard time with that, in fear of looking weak or not wanting to put anybody out. But self-respect is really about knowing when we need help and knowing how to ask that from a place of self-love. When you ask from a place of self-love, people want to help you. It's a joy to help someone who are joyfully helping themselves from a place of self-love. Wouldn't you agree? Thumbs up to that. Another way that we can give ourselves more self-love is to practice self-forgiveness. How easy is it for you to forgive yourself when you make a mistake? You know, I applaud mistake. I mean, this is my first Facebook Live, and chances are it won't be perfect, and maybe it will. But it's important for us to take risks and to try new things. And to do that, we're going to fall down. We're going to fail. And how well are you, or how good are you at forgiving those failures and applauding those failures? In fact, celebrating that, yay, I tried something new, or yay, I didn't do that correctly this time around, but I've learned something from it. Self-forgiveness is such an act of self-love. And when we can practice self-forgiveness, we are absolutely practicing self-love. And this will fill our heart with our own love, and then from this place, we can easily give it much easier to giving our love to other people. Other ways that we can have more self-love are self-compassion, self-understanding, and really nurturing ourselves, having the compassion for ourselves rather than the judgment for ourselves. That judgment is so harsh, and we're so quick to be that critical parent for ourselves and judge ourselves and put ourselves down and tell ourselves how bad we are. And that's exactly what's keeping us from the love that we so want outside of ourselves. If we can learn to love ourselves through that compassion, through that forgiveness, through that understanding, through nurturing and loving ourselves, then we have more love for ourselves, within ourselves, and again, it's so much easier to give it to other people from a healthy place. How honest are you with yourself? How well do you live in integrity to yourself, to your values, to respect and honor and value who you are and what you love? How easily is it to trust yourself? That's something that's also important with self-love. Thank you for the thumbs up and the loves, by the way. It really feels good to be loved. So having that self-honesty, that self-integrity, that self-respect, and trusting ourselves. You know, what keeps you from that? Because those are other forms of self-love. So these are forms that if you are not doing it for yourself, then it's impossible to do it to others from a healthy place. And that's where it gets hard to have relationships, to have love, to have deep friendships. We have to have that friendship and that deep relationship and that love within ourselves through self-awareness, self-care, self-respect, self-forgiveness, self-compassion, understanding for ourselves, really being honest with ourselves, being in integrity with ourselves, having boundaries for ourselves, asking for help when we need it, and really doing things that help to build our self-esteem, knowing that we are enough. What area of your life do you feel like you're not enough? Generally, most of us have an area in our life that was wounded when we were little. Again, most of these wounds or these scars that are keeping us from the love that we so want happened when we were little. And so knowing that you are enough and knowing that, you are doing the best that you know how is really important in a very important way in self-love and learning how to love ourselves and being there for ourselves in all the ways that we've wanted other people to be there for us. Number one way to get lasting love is to learn how to love yourself, to learn how to be there for yourself in all those ways that you've wanted other people to be there for you. So when we learn to love and nurture ourselves from a healthy place, we have that beautiful love to give and to nurture others with. So learn to love yourself, and then you're able to give that love to others from a healthy and loving place. And that's where lasting and healthy love begins and lasts from. It's the only way it works. When you're looking for love outside of yourself, hoping that someone or something is going to fill your needs, your love, it's an illusion. That's where the disappointment lies, that's where the frustration lies, and that's where a lot of the anger is rooted in. Because we are hoping and expecting someone else to give us the love that we so desire. Turn it around. How can I give myself more love today? So again, you give yourself more love by becoming more self-aware, learning what your blind spots are, learning what you're most afraid of, learning what your beliefs are that are keeping you from the love that you want. Learning how to take care of yourself, good self-care. What's fun? Go out and do more of that. What nurtures you? Go out and do more of that. Is it massage? Is it getting a good haircut? Is it being in nature? Self-respect, learning how to have good boundaries, learning when to say yes and when to say no. And being able to ask for help when you need it. Those are all forms of self-love. Self-forgiveness, learning to understand that you're trying new things, you're going to take risks, applauding your failures, applauding your mistakes, because at least you tried. Pat yourself on the back and try again. Self-forgiveness is a huge act of self-love. Self-compassion and understanding versus judgment. Really having compassion for yourself. Self-honesty, self-integrity, and trust. And really building your self-esteem. So out of all those things, what can you do today to love yourself more? What is choose one thing that I mentioned today or something that came to mind as you listened to this Facebook Live. A way that you could give yourself more love, that you could learn to love yourself a little bit better. Because when you have that love within yourself, you can give that love from a very joyful and healthy place to others. And when you're able to give that kind of love to others from a healthy place, then you can receive love from a beautiful place as well. It's in that giving and that receiving love that is so beautiful, and it's such a beautiful thing to witness, wouldn't you say? I mean, going to that wedding 2 weekends ago and watching my son and his beautiful wife, Olya. Hi, Olya, I see you're there. Thank you so much for being here. You are what inspired this video today. To get to witness love and have two people that so love each other, it starts with loving yourself first, and that's something we're going to have to work on every single day. Self-love is an act that we work on every day. It's not something that you do and it's done. So what is an act of self-love? And all those things that I just shared with you, what's one thing that you can do today that is a form of loving yourself? I would love to hear. Share your comments with me, if you would, on this Facebook Live, and let me know, what are the easy things for you to do to love yourself? Maybe it's really easy for you to go get massage or go have fun or take yourself out for a date night. Maybe it's really easy for you to have boundaries or to say no or to ask for help. Maybe it's easy for you to forgive yourself. What are some of the easier things for you to do? Share with me. I'd love to know. And what are some of the more difficult things? What are you most afraid of? What have you been role modeled by your parent maybe that wasn't okay to do? and that's a challenge for you to do in regards to loving yourself. Or do you even understand or get anything I talked about at all? I guess if you've stayed on this long, you do. But I'd love to hear your feedback and your thoughts on love as well. So here's the bottom line, and I'm going to say goodbye in just a minute. But the bottom line here is, when we love and nurture ourselves, we have that love to give and nurture others. So when we love ourselves, we can give love to others from a healthy place. And when you're able to love from that full and abundant heart, you're able to receive love in a way that the searching for love will never give you. And that's what I want you to understand. When you're able to give love from a full and abundant heart, you're able to receive love from a full and abundant heart, not from a place of scarcity or neediness. It's a whole different way of loving. It's fulfilling, and it's so, I'm just feeling into the feeling of abundance of love. It's abundant. It's abundant love rather than scarcity love. It's not coming from a needy place. It's coming from a place of abundance. And it's a whole different experience. And that, my friends, is why Larry and I have been together for 38 years. Because we continue to work on that. Larry was out surfing all day yesterday, and I so joyfully wanted him to go fill up his love. He was taking care of himself. And when he came back, we went on a date night. We just went out to the beach and had fun together. But it was a beautiful act of love for our relationship. But he gave that to me from a place of abundance because he had taken care of himself first. So go out and take care of yourself this weekend and do what you need to do that act of self-love for you. Now that's it for today. And I want to just thank you so much for tuning in with me. Again, I'm going to be doing these on a regular basis. It's time for me to step out of my comfort zone and have fun in this genre. So every week I'll be doing a Facebook Live on a topic that's near and dear to my heart. If you like this, please share it with others. Please spread the word and let me know so that I can continue to show up and share my thoughts with you. I'll be back again next week with another subject. But until then, lots of love to you. And thanks again for being with me. Bye-bye.